The League represents all cities and towns across the great state of Utah here at the Capitol. We provide training for mayors and council members as they serve their communities. And the best event we do all year is our Local Officials Day. We bring mayors, council members, city managers, and most importantly, youth city council members to the Capitol to interact with their legislators and get a better firsthand understanding of how government works. We try to provide an experiential experience for the kids, for the youth while they're here. We don't want them just to come listen to lectures. We want them to interact with policymakers and elected officials and then get a taste of what it's like. This year we've created a mock role play committee hearing for them, and we've provided a bill that touches on housing, which is a big issue here in the state of Utah, but also touches on the balance of power between the federal government, the state government, and local government. Whose role is what? Who's responsible for what? Which elected officials should be making what decisions? There are 500 youth that are attending Local Officials today, and those are 500 of our future leaders, future engaged citizens. We have folks not just from Spanish Fork. We have folks from as far away as St. George and Ivins and Blanding and Vernal and Cache Valley who have made the trek here to be part of Local Officials Day. And I think it's inspiring that you have hundreds of youth council members across the state that are already committed to making a positive difference in their communities.
We came to the Capitol today. We do it every year. The networking that we did here was an activity where you got a bingo card and everyone was giving a bingo number. Like this one, this N4, that's mine. So people would come up and talk to me and I'd be able to say, oh, I have M4, I can sign here, what's yours? And get theirs. But we also kind of find the unity in the fact that we're all here and we're all part of Youth City Council. Some people we see around more and we get to, have further interactions with all the bonds you get to make with all the people over this. It's great, so we love it. I like in the political process how it's more of you are trying to convince others to see your point of view, and that you kind of have to be able to see the other side of the view, but still be able to know what you're believing in and the people you're representing. But I just love that we do our mock bills, and it's kind of your chance to get to think analytically and get to really talk it out with the people on your council. So it's great.
I'm Logan Ricks, and I've been on Youth City Council for, I think this is my second year doing it. I've really enjoyed it because it's just a lot of service and helping out in the community, and it's really fun to come to places like the Capitol where we can just learn about our government and become more responsible citizens. Every time we come here, we do a really fun one. I think last year we made flags, because we were doing a new state flag. It was really cool. And then this year we got to do a scavenger hunt, and it was a list of the things for the different levels of here. So there's the basement, the first, second, third, fourth floor. And then it was just go around at each floor and find these certain things and take pictures or do stuff. And one of my favorites was looking at the sill. We got to go down, look at that, take a picture on it, and then we also got to look at our county sill, which I didn't know we had one. It was really cool to look at. Something I really like that I've learned is how it all works. I knew that someone presents an idea, it goes to government, they talk about it or something, and then it gets figured out if it's passed or not. But being able to learn how that process works, it comes, how each meeting is held, and who's in charge and who's allowed to talk and when. And something that I really found cool is I didn't know the public was allowed to speak. I didn't know public could just attend meetings and speak and show, say what they want to. I found that really cool because I'm not on any government. I'm just a Youth City Council member, but knowing that I can have a voice really made a difference to me.
I am so glad that you're here, and thanks for serving on the City Youth Council.
Yeah.
What's your name?
My name's Austin Reeder.
Hi, Austin.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
What does it take to be an important person up here?
What does it take to be an important person up here? I would say every person here is important.
Oh, that's good.
Really, one person is no important than anybody else. It really isn't. In fact, I think sometimes people think, oh, the leaders of the state are in charge of the state of Utah. I don't feel that way. I feel like we, the people, all of us, are in charge of the state. So it takes all of us to get involved and to be involved up here. So your voice is just as important as anybody else's.
That's good.
How many of you have never been up here before?
I've been here last year.
Okay, how many of you been here before? You love the place? Isn't it beautiful?
Yeah.
Well, I love this place because it's the Capitol, it's the people's house. This Capitol is your Capitol. And so it's open all the time. You can come up here at any time. It doesn't cost to come in. Bring your family, bring your friends. The session is happening right now for the next 45 days, but it's open for the full year, so you can come up here at any time you want. And when it was built, it was so big at the time. There were a lot of people saying, why do we have to build a Capitol this big when the state was so small? And they said, we are not building this Capitol for us today, we're building it for the future generations of Utah. And I thought that was so wise, that foresight, planning, because now the building is busting at the seams.
So essentially it was a mock Congress bill to allocate about $8 billion to a newly founded committee to increase our residential development throughout the United States.
Other than the Congress board, everyone was on the same side. Like the entire public was against the bill, which I thought was interesting. But I feel like we got a lot of good points across on the stand, and we went over a lot of topics, and like heavily centered around the housing market aspect of this bill and how that will affect the housing prices and like accessibility for those, but as well as we covered a lot of topics.
Personally, I do congressional debate, so I like to follow a 3 contention or 2 contention style of speech. So kind of like my strategy was first assess the bill and then assess the issue and then talk about the benefits of that bill specifically. And in the email yesterday that was sent about like all the information for this, it had a like research thing. It said, please come researched and prepared. I was expecting more people to be, up there with note cards, but it seemed I'm the only one who really geeked out about it. But yeah, I did some cramming last night and came up with my speech structure as I do.
I feel like people naturally resist change, so every bill that's new, even if it's beneficial, will be initially met with like negative like views or like just people will be naturally against it. So I think the public should just be more, seek higher understanding.
Yeah, I for sure think it goes down to like a personal level of just kind of accepting that you can learn something from anyone, that it doesn't have to be, a teacher or a college professor, but you can learn something from your 3-year-old niece if you really try, and just being open and involved in the discussion of these bills and understanding what's going on before jumping to conclusion and being willing to learn about them is definitely like a strong suit for being able to be a part and an asset to these local governments.
Spanish Fork Youth City Council!